Welcome back to the Finance Hub UK. On October 6, 2025, the UK's concessionary bus pass scheme will undergo its biggest transformation in decades. For millions of pensioners, disabled citizens, and people who rely on public transport, this is more than a minor policy adjustment, it's a direct shift in daily life. The free bus pass has long been seen as a lifeline, not just a perk, offering access to essential services, healthcare appointments, social visits, and community engagement. But now, the Department for Transport, working alongside local councils, has confirmed that eligibility rules, travel times, and access limits will be tightened. Today, we will explore every single detail of this change, explain who will be affected, and guide you step by step on what actions you should take before the deadline arrives. October 6, 2025 marks the rollout of new bus pass rules. Free bus travel for pensioners and disabled people will be subject to stricter guidelines. The change links directly to rising state pension age and public transport funding challenges. Millions risk losing or having restricted access to their passes. The background: why October 6, 2025 matters. To understand why this date has been chosen, we must look at the broader government policy timeline. October 2025 is the month when several major reforms come into force, including adjustments to the state pension age and benefit eligibility. The government has argued that aligning bus pass rules with the state pension age will make the system fairer and more sustainable. Critics argue that this is nothing more than cost-cutting, targeting the elderly and vulnerable. Regardless of where you stand, October 6 is the day local councils will enforce the new rules, bringing an end to the previous age thresholds in many areas. October chosen to align with other welfare and pension reforms. The state pension age increase is directly linked to bus pass eligibility. Central government is pushing councils to enforce stricter rules. Critics say the move risks isolating pensioners and vulnerable groups. Eligibility age increase, no longer automatic at 60. For years, many believed that turning 60 guaranteed a bus pass. That hasn't been true nationwide for some time, but certain regions still allowed early access. From October 6, 2025, the nationwide standard will be enforced. Eligibility will only begin once you reach the state pension age. With the pension age moving beyond 66 and heading towards 67, many will find themselves waiting several more years for free bus travel. This change means fewer people will qualify immediately, reducing the number of passes issued. Nationwide standardization, bus passes tied strictly to state pension age. No more early eligibility at 60 in any local authority. Many people will wait an extra 6 to 7 years for free travel. Direct impact on working-age older citizens who cannot afford transport costs. Regional variations and council powers. Although the government sets the national rules, local councils have some flexibility. Some areas may still choose to offer discretionary travel support, but funding is being squeezed. For example, certain councils in London, Greater Manchester, and Scotland have indicated they may introduce additional restrictions, such as limiting peak travel. Meanwhile, rural councils face unique challenges, as bus routes themselves are being cut. The postcode lottery will remain. Where you live determines not just whether you get a pass, but how useful it is. Councils retain limited discretion over extra benefits. Rural areas may suffer more due to route reductions. London and metropolitan regions may apply peak hour restrictions. A postcode lottery effect continues to divide access across the UK. Travel time restrictions, the end of peak hour freedom. One of the most controversial aspects of the reform is the limitation on when passes can be used. From October 6, bus passes will generally only be valid during off-peak hours, typically from 9:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. on weekdays, and all day on weekends and bank holidays. Pensioners and disabled travelers who previously relied on early morning buses to attend hospital appointments or part-time jobs will now face barriers. While some councils may offer companion passes or exceptions, the general rule is clear: free travel is being pushed away from peak commuter times. New default: 9:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. weekday use only. Early hospital appointments may be harder to reach. Pensioners with part-time jobs lose morning travel support. Councils can grant exceptions, but these are limited and rare. Disability passes and special cases. Disabled citizens often rely on concessionary passes more heavily than anyone else. While disability passes will remain available, new assessments and stricter medical evidence requirements will be enforced from October. This could mean delays or even refusals for those who previously had automatic renewals. Campaigners warn that red tape could block vulnerable individuals from vital mobility support, leaving them isolated and unable to engage with society fully. Disability passes remain, but with stricter eligibility checks. Renewals may require medical proof or reassessment. Delays and refusals could hit vulnerable groups hardest. Disability rights campaigners are pushing for appeals processes. Impact on rural pensioners. For pensioners living in rural areas, the bus pass is often not just convenient, it's essential. With limited routes already being cut, any further restrictions mean real hardship. Many older people in villages depend on buses for shopping, GP visits, and social contact. October's reforms risk making free travel meaningless in areas where buses run only once or twice a day. Some fear that this will deepen rural isolation and create a two-tier society: urban pensioners with usable transport, and rural pensioners stranded. Bus route cuts already reducing availability. Rural pensioners face longer waits and fewer journeys. Social isolation risks increasing dramatically. Campaigners call for rural transport investment alongside bus pass reforms. Financial pressures behind the reform. At its core, these changes are driven by money. The government spends billions each year on concessionary travel. With rising costs and an aging population, officials argue the system is unsustainable. By raising the eligibility age and limiting travel times, they expect to save millions annually. However, those savings come at a social cost: pensioners losing independence, disabled citizens facing isolation, and councils dealing with angry constituents. Rising costs of concessionary travel prompting reform. Aging population increases long-term funding pressure. Savings estimated in the hundreds of millions annually. Critics say social costs outweigh financial benefits. What pensioners must do before October 6th. If you currently have a pass, your rights won't disappear overnight, but you may see changes in how you use it. Councils are advising all bus pass holders to check expiry dates, travel restrictions, and local rules well before October. If you rely on early morning travel, speak to your council about possible exemptions. For those nearing pension age, apply as soon as you qualify. Delays are expected as demand spikes. Check expiry dates and restrictions on your pass. Contact your council for information about exemptions. Apply as soon as you reach pension age to avoid delays. Prepare alternative travel arrangements where possible. Voices of protest and community response. Unions, pensioner advocacy groups, and disability charities are already voicing strong opposition. Protests are planned outside Parliament and in city centres across the country. Campaigners argue that stripping away free travel undermines independence and social inclusion. They warn that thousands may simply stop travelling altogether, worsening loneliness and mental health issues. This chapter of the story is still unfolding, and the pressure on government could force adjustments in the months ahead. Protests and petitions are underway against the changes. Campaigners link free travel directly to pensioner independence. Risk of rising loneliness and isolation is highlighted. Future government U-turns remain possible under pressure. Looking ahead, what this means for the future. The October 6th bus pass reform is not the end, it's the beginning of a longer shift in public transport policy. With ongoing debates about the climate crisis, urban congestion, and regional inequality, concessionary travel will remain a hot topic. The big question is whether future governments will restore, reduce, or completely reinvent free bus travel. Pensioners, councils, and campaigners will need to stay engaged, vocal, and organized to ensure their voices shape the next stage of reform. October 6th changes are only the start of a longer debate. Transport policy now tied to climate, economy, and demographics. Future governments may revisit or further reform bus passes. Public engagement will be crucial to shaping future policy. The countdown to October 6, 2025 has begun. Across the UK, pensioners and disabled citizens must now prepare for a transport landscape that looks very different. Whether it's longer waits for eligibility, stricter time limits, or tougher renewal processes. The message is clear: free bus travel is no longer guaranteed in the way it once was. For some, it may remain a valuable lifeline, for others, it could become an empty promise. One thing is certain: the choices you make now, and the actions you take before the deadline, will determine how much independence and freedom you retain in the years ahead. October 6th marks the largest shakeup of bus pass rules in decades. Eligibility tied to state pension age nationwide. Travel time restrictions and regional differences increase. Pensioners and disabled citizens urged to act now to protect their rights. If you found this guide useful, please like and share this video. It could protect a pensioner you love. Subscribe to Finance Hub UK for more urgent updates.